Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Anisha Gupta. Well, the first stage of the G7 and European Union's ban on imports of Russian unpolished diamonds via third world countries came into effect at the start of this month. The ban on these diamonds is part of the 12th package of sanctions against Russia in response to its offensive in Ukraine. The European Union is also looking at its counterparts to ensure the effectiveness of these sanctions. I caught up with Ahmed Bin Sulayem, Executive Chairman of the Dubai Multi-Commodities Center, and spoke to him about the outlook on diamonds, impact of G7 ban on global diamond traders, and the impact that it also can have on Indian trades here. Let's listen in.
Well, about 2 months ago or so, I did visit Brussels, had a meeting with Peter Kovac, and at the time, the system seems to me was not in place. I think it's important that they really consult with the industry. I don't think that this has been thought through very well. I don't think it was vetted. And testimony to that, their proposal and concept of a single node did not start from March 1st. The US request self-verification. Aside from the industry, it hurts Africa. It doesn't really hurt Russia. It hurts the African producers whose countries are sovereign countries who have the right to verify their own goods. So in principle, I don't think it's working the way it was stated to be, and it's not a smooth transition. There's not even a single node for India. So it would be just Antwerp for now. That being said, as the chairman of the Kimberley process, we have an upcoming meeting. The invitation is open for the G7 to participate, have a workshop, discuss with the real stakeholders of this industry. No one has an issue with the G7 implementing sanctions. It's just how it's done. The how seems to be an issue and did not factor a number of challenges that are popping up right now.
Kimberley process as itself has proved to be quite beneficial. I mean, the kind of conversations that go in, but especially within this case, how are you looking to make a change via this organization?
Well, the KP is over 20 years old. We have the data. All of the participants, countries that are that have a KP office, use one system. We all know where the diamonds are coming from. It has solved the issue of smuggling in Africa. And the expectation was G7 would build on that. Now, part of the concerns that was raised to push for a single node is that the Kimberley process needs full consensus. It does not need full consensus to apply best practices. So this can be applied. It's not an issue. The other point with regards to the single node is I do not believe it's in line with the World Trade Organization. There's not one consultant that supports that claim, whether it's a law firm or a consultant. None of the big five can go on the record and say this is actually doable and is in line with the WTO rules.
I remember not too long back, Ahmed, there was also a conversation of following the diamonds on where they are going, perhaps putting a tracker in, getting some softwares put in, installed as well. I mean, of course, that is yet another thing that the industry clearly opposed.
I don't know if the industry opposes it. It's just a matter, as I said, it's a matter of how. In the Diamond Tower itself in Dubai, there's more than, I would believe, more than 10 Sarine machines that can do the traceability. Not overnight, they'll need time. And that time will create backlog on the African producers, the diamond industry, something they can't afford. I mean, this might be workable if every African producing country was Norway, but that's not the case. They need it. It's their livelihood. They can't afford to be caught up in the net. And when we talk about sanctioning the Russian diamonds, Russia produces 30% of the world diamonds. This would cover 10% of the diamonds within their specification. So if during the best times of the diamond industry, let's put that for argument, it would only make a dent to a day and a half or 2 days of the war. So that, in comparison to completely damaging the producers in Angola, Sierra Leone, Central African Republic, and other centers. I really can't see South Africa being on board. I can't see the other countries being on board. But we want to work with them. They have not engaged with the Kimberley process. And if they can't make it to Dubai's meeting in a few months, then we're accessible online. We're ready. It just takes a phone call, and we can apply it. We can apply and ensure that the system helps the G7 to be comfortable that the Russian rough diamonds is not coming to their markets. It's not an issue. The data is there. And with regards to the single note, picking Belgium for it, Belgium, I think 2 years ago announced that they're no longer sharing their exports and imports data. So how is that being verified today? I don't even think the diamond community in Belgium are ready to take this on, but that's for them to say, not me.
How would you look at the overall diamond market? I mean, we've seen good numbers, strong numbers coming from Dubai in the last couple of years now. Are you looking at that getting repeated in 2024, or do you think all of this can impact that too?
No, I believe, well, recent numbers, we've had 30% growth in polished diamonds, and the GIA office have just opened. So I expect that number to grow next year. As a rough diamond center, the expectation it will continue to grow. I do not believe the G7 will continue with an unworkable system, no matter what's being said. So I'm optimistic about the future. The global industry is still recovering from the COVID pandemic. So, I'm not in the business of predicting the future, but I am optimistic. I mean, Dubai is a market for all of the diamond centers in the world. There's a lot of Belgian companies or Belgian origin companies operating out of Dubai. The same with India. The same with African countries, and we continue to do so. We get even Canadian diamonds in our tenders. So it's really an international hub for the rest of the world. I don't expect much issues. I mean, I'm optimistic. I mean, I know there are concerns with the G7 sanctions, but personally, I'm optimistic.
All right, that's good to know. And also, how are you looking at the Indian trade? Because we do understand that this is a market that is also growing. I mean, every time I speak to jewelers and diamond guys here in India, there are expansions in sense of stores, area, and businesses as well. More stores are coming up in even tier 2, tier 3 cities as we speak. Last year was difficult in sense of diamonds. The prices went down. There was a lot of inventory within India also. Do you see the Indian trade as well improve?
I would never bet against India. There's a lot of areas that India can develop and progress. The potential is high. It's just about timing. The Surat Diamond Exchange is a huge facility, and I am someone, if you look at my track record and my history in DMCC, nothing is too big for me. I love big projects. I love big developments, and sooner or later we'll get filled up. We're at the stage where we're running out of space. We are out of space, and we're building 2 more office buildings next to the Uptown Tower. I'd like to also mention something about what's come up after March 1st. There's no talk about the grandfather diamonds, the stocks, the Russian goods. It needs to cover it. If they're serious about the Russian sanctions, it needs to cover that as well. So I know there's a lot of stocks in Belgium and other parts of the world. It doesn't cover it. And how would that be tracked itself? Look, I'm sure there will be, with Italy leading the G7, we will hear more about it. But I think the first step is to genuinely have a talk with the diamond industry.
How is DMCC really looking forward to 2024 in sense of various commodities that you have within the umbrella?
I expect things to grow. We've had growth in the lab-grown diamond industry. I believe the gold industry, you'll see a bit of growth there. I think we're a month or so away from 24 Gold from operating as a gold refinery in DMCC. That would make the total gold refineries that are operating under the license of DMCC to 4, and hopefully before the end of the year, a 5th one will be coming online. It seems the growth is happening in Dubai and DMCC. It's a busy year for me with travels as the KP chair, and we've just concluded in Shanghai the future of trade roundtable discussions, and I believe in a month or so we'll have the future of trade launch, which will be in New York, London, Geneva, and ending up in Hong Kong, obviously to be online for everyone else. There's a lot to be excited about. We've recently signed up a partnership as an ecosystem partner with Bybit, Solana. Expect more news on the crypto side. But I think the commodity that the world should keep look at when it comes to DMCC, it's its leading sector. Gold and precious metals, we have about 1,500 companies. Diamonds and jewelry is about the same, about 1,400 or 1,500 companies. There's a nice attraction to DMCC. I've just recently known that there's over 500 Italian companies operating out of DMCC, and based on the Italian Business Council in the UAE, there are only about 600 plus Italian companies. 40% of the British companies operating out of the United Arab Emirates are operating out of DMCC itself. But the leading sector by far is the oil and gas and renewable energy sector in DMCC, with over 3,300 companies. That includes the likes of Aramco Trading, Total, Sinopec, Reliance, and many others. I feel that will continue growing.